In the world of mainstream compact cars, the Kia brand has been playing in this space in America for decades, ranging in model names from the Cephia, the Spectra, and of course the most recent nameplate, the Forte. Now, one thing about Hyundai and its sister company Kia is that they've always offered a value quotient compared to more pricier rivals like the Toyota Corolla and the Honda Civic or Mazda 3. And for 2025, it looks like Kia is looking to raise that bar even higher with the introduction of this vehicle. This is the 2025 Kia K4, a replacement, of course, for the entry-level Forte here in America. It rides on an updated chassis. It has carryover powertrains, including a turbo engine at the top trims, and Kia has also enlarged this vehicle to give it the most technology and most interior space in the segment. So as you can see, this week, the company has loaned us the latest K4 GT Line Turbo, painted in this new color called Morning Haze Metallic. And the big question I want to answer, for those of you who are looking for an affordable commuter car that feels a lot more like a premium mid-size car, how does the latest version of the K4 GT Line Turbo stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we start talking about the all-new sheet metal for this 2025 Kia K4, I thought I'd pop the hood and show you guys what's powering this thing. Now, here in America, Kia offers a choice between two engines. Most of the K4s will come with the company's 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder hooked up to a CVT. For you enthusiasts out there, this is, however, the powertrain you're going to want to go for. Now, if you guys are familiar with the Hyundai Kia family, or you had a Kia Forte GT in the past, you'll know this engine. It's a 1.6-liter gasoline direct injection turbocharged 4-cylinder. This vehicle has been around, or this engine has been around for well over a decade. Kia has made some hardware and emissions changes to the motor for 2025, which has resulted in it making a little bit less power. It now does 190 horsepower, which is a reduction of 11. It still makes the same 195 foot-pounds of torque. Now, Kia says the transmission is also new. It's now hooked up to an 8-speed automatic transmission. It's a torque converter automatic, so the old 6-speed manual and the 7-speed dual clutch has been discontinued. You can still get the dual clutch in this car's sister vehicle, the Hyundai Elantra N line. Fuel economy with this new transmission is now rated at 26 in the city, 36 on the highway. That's on regular fuel. You have a 12.4 gallon fuel tank. You're looking at around 350-ish miles of range. Again, that is on regular grade gas. All Fortes remain front wheel drive. That's something that Kia, I think, should have addressed with this redesign, is offering all wheel drive. Some of the competitors certainly do. The company doesn't quote a 0 to 60 time. We got 7.25 seconds when we first drove this vehicle out in Austin, Texas. It should have a top speed of around 130 miles an hour. It's a sedan, it's not rated to tow, but it does weigh a little over 3,300 pounds, so curb weight is pretty similar to the last Honda Civic Hybrid that I tested. Now, closing that hood, which, by the way, the hood is pretty heavy. I actually think Kia should have reduced the weight a little bit by making the hood made out of aluminum. Looking at the styling, you can see my particular test car is the top-of-the-line model. It's known as the GT Line Turbo. You can technically get a GT Line without the turbo engine. That'll save you around $3,000, but this color, like I mentioned, is called Morning Haze Metallic. It's essentially the launch color that Kia first showed this vehicle off in. It's kind of like a greenish gray exterior with some multi-pearl effects, or the multi-sparkle effects. You can see the headlights. These are the upgraded cube-style full LED headlights. So unlike the lower trims, this vehicle has LED low and high beams. You also have LED fog lights. That's the inboard light there for that little headlight. That's actually the fog light. And then you have amber illuminated turn signals and daytime running lights. Down here you can see there are some functional and non-functional openings. The front fascia is unique to the GT line, of course, with the gloss black accents. It's got the new Kia logo with that stainless steel finish to it. And overall, it certainly takes some styling cues from the K5 and maybe even the Kia EV9, their fully electric flagship SUV. I think it certainly is a handsome and stylish looking vehicle. I haven't had a chance to test out the lower trims, but I think the EX or the GT Line non-turbo could be the sweet spot for the lineup. But let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of the design. It certainly is a lot more interesting and sophisticated versus the Forte that it replaces. Now, of course, being built on the updated N3 architecture, Kia was able to supersize this vehicle, so it's almost the size of like a mid-size car from like 15 years ago. At an overall length of 185.4, it's around 1.4 inches longer versus this car's sister vehicle, the Elantra, and it's a good 5 inches longer than most of its competitors. It rides on a 107.1-inch wheelbase, the same wheelbase, of course, as the Elantra. You can see the wheels. These wheels are unique to the GT Line Turbo, so they're an 18-inch gloss black wheel If you guys go for a GT line non-turbo, you'll have kind of a two-tone look with silver and black accents. You can see the wheels have a directional spoke. You have a 12-inch rotor at the front, along with an 11-inch rotor at the back. You have a 235 by 40 R18, looks like a Hankook, or I'm sorry, a Kumo Majesty 9 all-season tire. The GT line also includes these gloss black wheel arch trim or fender flares, along with the side sill that goes along the side of the vehicle. You also get, of course, a black painted side mirror here with integrated turn signals, full 360 camera as well, along with a front and rear parking sensors. Those are features you typically don't find in this segment. I like the chrome trim along the belt line. I also like how it's like a two-tone look where the upper portion of the door trim isn't chrome. The Forte, or the K4, also offers a wide style sunroof, or panoramic style sunroof. It's not a full pano, but it is definitely nicer versus the standard sunroofs you'll find in like a Civic or a Corolla. And then looking at the view over here, you can see this is where the K4's lines start to look a little bit ungainly. The rear especially, as you can see, has a significantly longer rear overhang. Now, I've seen the K4s with the smaller 17 or 16-inch wheels. The 18s definitely help fill out the wheel wells nicely, but I don't love this kind of droopy rear end, especially with that LED taillight design. The GT Line Turbo is the only trim that gets a full LED taillight. And I also noticed that the wheels, even though they're 18s, because of how big the body is, they tend to look a little bit small. There's also a little detail here where the rear door handle is hidden up in the C-pillar as opposed to being here. It kind of tries to give this car more of a coupe sportback design. I also want to point out that there's an interesting design flaw here where when you open up this door, this right here protrudes very far out. And when you're actually sitting in the rear door area, you don't get a sense of how long this area is here, which could lead to a lot of kids or adults even slamming their rear car door into another vehicle or into like a barrier. So that's something that I think Kia kind of messed up in terms of design. It certainly looks cool, but it could be a non-practical thing that might end up people damaging people's cars or damaging your own vehicle. Looking at the rear, you can see very droopy design for the taillights. I actually don't love the rear of this car. I think the front looks a lot better versus the back, but I do love the technology. You have those full LED taillights with that kind of, again, droopy look. You have the new Kia logo there with the K4 and GT line badging. Your reverse light is located down there at the center. It's all LED, and then there's no visible exhaust tips, which would have been nice on the GT line model. Instead, you have a more aggressive rear diffuser. Again, there's like this kind of interesting portion where it's black here along with the body colored areas on the trunk lid. It tries to make it look like a Sportback, but if you guys open up the trunk, you can see it's a conventional trunk with hinges that crush your cargo. There is going to be a K4 hatchback coming at the end of this year. But if you guys can't wait for that, the sedan offers a class-leading 14.8 cubic feet of storage space. That's around a cubic foot more versus in the Elantra. It's a little bit bigger than most of its rivals. As you can see underneath the floor here, there is a temporary spare tire, so you don't have to deal with a fix-a-flat, and you can also fold down the rear seats in a 60/40 arrangement. So in terms of cargo space, as sedans go, this is definitely one of the biggest that you're going to find in the segment. Now moving on to the interior of this all-new Kia K4. Before we get inside, let me show you guys the key fob. You can see this is the newest detonator-style fob that Kia has been using on a lot of their newer products. It's a smart intelligent access key, obviously, and it's a really cool design. It also is relatively large, but it feels pretty high quality, of course, with the new Kia logo. Love the side mounted buttons here for lock, unlock, remote open for the trunk, and panic. You also get a remote start feature on this key fob. What you don't get, however, is the smart park feature where you can move the vehicle forward and back from the fob. This is a more affordable car, so it's no surprise that Kia would keep that feature on their more expensive models. Now, as you can see, door handles are the traditional pull style. If I touch that little rectangular area, that will lock the door for you. Like I mentioned, no power folding mirrors. Touch the back of the door handle, that will unlock the door for you. This car does not offer any kind of walkaway lock or auto lock feature, but you can use the digital key function where you can use your smartphone as a key if you're an owner. Now, this color combination is fantastic. This is the black and white Syntex, so it's actually a leatherette, a faux leather material, or vegan leather, whatever you'd like to call it. These seats, of course, are exclusive to the GT line. They're standard on the turbo, optional on the regular GT line non-turbo. The leatherette material feels pretty high quality. I also love the perforations and the GT line badging on the actual seat back. These headrests also look pretty cool, and I love the two-tone look with the white and the black. These seats are also heated and ventilated. That's part of a premium package. And you also get a 10-way power driver's seat with 2-person memory. So that's a feature you don't typically find in this segment. It's usually reserved for a mid-size car. It's nice to see that Kia offers that here. You can see the door panel has a nice soft touch injection molded plastic, more of that Syntex here. Although I would have preferred if this was white, but I guess this is probably better for durability. It's nice and padded here. Window controls are up, down for the front windows, but not for the rear. They're not one touch. Only for the front. You have this kind of flat black plastic here, which is nice. Some nice storage over here. It's all hard touch plastic down here. And then this trim also includes the upgraded Harman Kardon stereo, which sounds good if you guys are an audiophile. The GT lines also include the alloy sport pedals, which is nice. And then the steering wheel has a really cool flat bottom and flat top design with a two-tone look. So first impression is definitely great. As I get inside, the vehicle has that typical low sedan step-in height. And then when you shut the door has a nice solid sounding thunk. Remember, this is built on the updated N3 architecture. Now, looking at the rest of this interior, it really will fool you into thinking you're driving something like a Kia K5 with all the space and the technology. When you want to start the vehicle up, start stop button is here by the shifter. Push that, you can hear this is not a hybrid or a mild hybrid, so it has a traditional starter noise. And then if you guys go for an EX trim and up, you'll get the fully digital cluster here. So you'll get a fully digital 12.3-inch cluster with a 5-inch screen here off to the center for your climate control functions. And then over here, you'll get the 12.3-inch display. All of them will come with the 12.3-inch display. It's just this display here isn't fully digital unless you go for the EX trim. This also runs their newest CNCC software, which includes over-the-air updates and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So compared to the Elantra, which is this car's sister vehicle, the screen is 2 inches larger, and you also get wireless functionality. The Elantra has to still require a connection, a wired connection to get the smartphone connectivity. So that's something, again, that Kia has stepped up their game. There's no heads-up display. Most vehicles in this segment don't offer that. In terms of the materials, you do have a soft touch material here on the upper portion of the dash. There's this kind of aluminum look trim that is plastic with some interesting textures down here. You also have really intricate ambient lighting, especially for a compact car. You can even change the color. It's in basically the front door handle areas. It's in the dash area. It's in the footwells. So that's all an unexpected touch. It's only on the higher trims, which is nice. You can see the steering wheel is really interesting looking with the flat bottom and flat top design. I like the two-tone look. What I don't like, however, is the Kia logo that's off to the side. I would have preferred this to be in the middle. I just thought that looks, or just kind of bothers my OCD. You do have paddles on the wheel to control the 8-speed auto. You have a manual tilt telescoping arrangement, which offers a good amount of adjustability. So getting a comfortable driving position in this car is pretty easy. You have some more buttons over here to the side, including your electronic parking brake release. Down here you can see you have traditional air vents along with a nice little roller wheel to increase the volume. No tuning knob, however, it's just a button in the screen. And then if I put the vehicle into reverse, you can see there's your full 360 camera. That's part of the premium package. It includes trajectory, it includes parking sensors, it includes cross-traffic braking. You can even do a full 360 perimeter scan. So these are features you're not even going to find in most of the competitive set, along with, you know, this kind of technology and detail here with the screen quality. That's basically what I expect to find in a lot of pricier European luxury cars. This 5-inch screen here for the climate looks really nice from this angle, but from this angle, the steering wheel blocks it. So that's kind of a bad design on Kia's end. But if you move over to the right, you can see it again. But again, I would have just preferred to have the screen down here. There's like an empty space here where that could have gone. You have 2 USB charging ports. They're USB-Cs along with an actual power outlet here. A 12-volt, you have a wireless phone charging pad here, and then this controls your 8-speed auto. Very traditional shifter with a manual mode here, along with the paddle shifters. If I want to adjust the drive mode, it's located on this little button here. You can basically go from normal to sport, so it's pretty simple to change the drive mode. This vehicle does not have adaptive dampers, stuff like that, and there's also no heated steering wheel. In fact, there's a button, there's an area here where that could have been the heated wheel, but it's a totally blank button, so that's kind of a small feature that I think Kia should have included at this price point. Push that button, you can see it reveals the full 360 camera again, parking sensor control, on-off switch. You can see this area here, you can basically adjust this to just be an open storage area, which is pretty nice. Or again, push that button, it reveals the cup holders. It's all a shiny plastic here. I like how Kia refrained from using any shiny piano black plastic. This is definitely better for durability and long-term longevity. Nice padded center console. If you open that up, it's a relatively good size, good storage in there as well. This is not, however, adjustable. The seats are comfortable and supportive, but they don't have much in terms of lateral support. The heat and cooled function works nice This seat over here is totally manual, so you only get a 10-way power driver seat, which is still pretty nice. You do have, again, your heated and cooled seat controls. They are located here as actual hard buttons, which is I really appreciate, and cooled seats are typically a hard option to find. No auto-dimming rearview mirror, but you can get that, I believe, as a dealer accessory, along with no digital camera rearview mirror. You have a woven material here, along with LED map lighting. And then you can see the sunroof. It's only about the same size as a traditional sunroof here, but it does have a power retractable shade, and you can open this completely. You can tilt it or you can open it up all the way, which is definitely a nice touch. On the outside, it looks like a panel roof, but on the inside here, it has the feel of a traditional sunroof, so kind of keep that in mind. The glove compartment, you can see, is damped but not lined with felt. It's a bin style. It offers some good storage as well. So overall, the front seat area feels like you're in a much more expensive car with high quality materials, good fit and finish, not a single squeak and rattle, and then lots of available tech features that really surpass most of the competition. But let's go ahead and hop into the back seat area, because with this car's gigantic size, you're gonna really find a lot of usefulness with the rear seat, because Kia says you get 38 inches of legroom back here. 38 inches is a solid like 3 to 4 inches more versus most of its competitors. You can see the door panel is a hard touch plastic, so it is downgraded from the front. This is leather and leather over here, along with some additional storage. I also love the two-tone seats which carry over back here, but as I get inside, you can see the roof line does require you to duck your head a little bit, but once I get back here, and first of all, let me show you what I meant earlier from the walk around. If you're sitting back here, you can really see when I open this door, you can really only see up until this area here. However, if I move the camera, you can see this extends out much farther. So this could potentially be, you know, a hazard where if you're opening the door, if you're not careful, you're gonna slam it into somebody else's car door. So kind of keep that in mind. Shutting the door back here, you can see this is my driving position, so there's a good amount of legroom, good foot space. I can get back here and cross my legs pretty easily. So this is very, very spacious. There is no flat floor here, which is disappointing considering there's no all-wheel drive option on this car. But what you do get are rear seat air vents. Can't even find that on a Civic. You also have 2 USB-C charging ports. This apparently is standard on every version of the K4. These are included on the top trims of the vehicle. There's an open storage area here. You got one storage pocket over here. And then as you can see, there's an armrest here with 2 cup holders. You have adjustable head restraints. I love the dual two-tone look of this back seat area, along with the LED map lighting. You have some grab handles here. The sunroof does take up some headroom space, but as you can see at 5'7", my hair gets pretty close to hitting the roof line, so kind of keep that in mind if you're a taller driver. But overall, you can see the back seat is spacious, it's very usable, but it is lacking heated rear seats. Some of the competitors at the top end do offer that feature, so it's kind of silly that Kia decided to leave that out. So here we are back behind the wheel of the all-new 2025 Kia K4. If you can believe it, this vehicle was actually Kia's best-selling model here in America in January 2025. It actually outsold the Sportage, which has always been Kia's best-selling vehicle, by about 300 units. So clearly there's still a market for a affordable compact sedan, especially if you can do one like this, because this car feels a lot like I'm driving around in a midsize K5 as opposed to a compact K4. Now, of course, we are driving the model that I predict most people probably won't buy. It's the GT Line Turbo, although the GT Line is a great value if you guys want to go for the non-turbo version. It saves you almost $3,000, but this 1.6-liter turbo engine is unique to the K4 because it is now hooked up to an 8-speed automatic transmission. This is the only trim level where you can get this powertrain, and the 7-speed dual clutch is gone. The old 6-speed manual from the Forte GT is gone, which is a little bit of a sad day for enthusiasts, but Kia has definitely gone way more toward the refinement end here with this powertrain and more for the comfort spectrum. But the last time I 0 to 60 tested this car, I was in Texas. I got 7.25 seconds. Let's see what we can get here on our actual stretch of road that we constantly use. So I have the vehicle in sport mode. We'll go ahead and we'll brake torque it. All right, we got 0 to 60 in 6.68 seconds there. So that's actually a good deal quicker versus when I tested this vehicle out in Texas. This new 8-speed automatic is also a much smoother transmission versus the old 7-speed dual clutch. I mean, does it shift as fast as the dual clutch? No, but I think for daily driving, this is what people are looking for, because that dual clutch just had so many issues with just lagginess, with like a clunkiness with the shift quality. It wasn't also the most reliable transmission. So I'm hoping this new 8-speed should rectify all that. This engine still is not the most refined engine. It has noticeable amounts of turbo lag, but I'm actually impressed. 6.68 is pretty darn close to the 6.4 that I got in the last Civic Hybrid, which I would probably compare very closely with this vehicle. Let's try another run here. This time it's slightly more uphill and I won't brake torque it. Puts the power down pretty nicely. Noticeable surge above 3,000 RPM, 7.03 there. That's with, again, more going slightly uphill. But 6.68, 6.7 is a perfectly respectable time. I mean, yes, the Civic Hybrid is going to be faster, and it roughly gets twice the fuel efficiency, so that's kind of hard to ignore. This smokes any version of the Toyota Corolla, minus, of course, the GR Corolla. The Hyundai Elantra N line, this car's sister vehicle. I haven't driven one with the dual clutch in a while, but it technically has 11 more horsepower than this with the dual clutch transmission still. So I'll be curious to see what Hyundai does for the revised version of the Elantra N line, although they technically just showed us the revised version, but this technically, is the most up-to-date version of this chassis. The Mazda 3 Turbo, of course, with its all-wheel drive system, is probably going to be around a second faster than this car, but again, this transmission is just such a big improvement. I mean, it's so smooth, it's so refined, it puts the engine right in the meat of the power band, and there's not any of that clunkiness from the dual clutch. It just, again, shifts a little bit slower. It's not as sporty, but that's okay. I think for the mission, Kia has completely redone the mission of the K4. It's trying to be more of like a mid-size upscale compact car, which is fine by me. I think this is where my brain feels like I'm driving around in a K5, a mid-size vehicle. The seats are also relatively comfortable. They don't have much in terms of lateral support. I'm kind of squirming around in the seat constantly, but the Syntex, this fake leather, feels nice. The heated seat works nice. It's one of the few vehicles in the segment that offers ventilated seats as well, although I noticed that my test car doesn't have a heated steering wheel, and that actually surprised me considering all the other features that Kia puts in this vehicle. You don't typically find a heated steering wheel in this segment, so that's okay. Now, this is still a front-wheel drive vehicle, so it will spin its front tires out if you drive it a little bit more aggressively and you put your foot down around some turns. There's no limited slip differential, but you don't really need it in this car. But it would be nice if Kia would offer all-wheel drive. I mean, they offer this powertrain with all-wheel drive in the Kia Seltos, so would it be a nice addition in the K4? Absolutely. I just don't know, what the take rate would be if Kia did that. But let's try another run here. This time I won't brake torque it. This is on a level road because I want to see if I consistently can get 6.68. Shifts at around 6,300 RPM. 6.55 there. So actually brake torquing it made it slower a smidge, but 6.55 is pretty darn close to what I got from the last Civic Hybrid. So very impressed with that performance, very pleased with it. I think Kia made the right decision by switching this to an 8-speed auto. And this thing, can still have a little bit of fun. In terms of the suspension, remember this car, this trim comes with a multi-link independent rear suspension. It also has been tuned to be a little bit sportier. The steering's been retuned. The steering itself is pretty quick and direct. It changes directions with authority. The suspension is softer, but it still feels like, a sportier compact sedan. Definitely is a lot more refined. The ride is smooth and comfortable in this car, which is great, even with the 18-inch wheels. I just don't have that kind of fire that you get from a Civic Si or the Elantra N line, or even a Civic Hybrid feels a little bit sportier. But this is not, clumsy. It's not sloppy in its handling. It's pretty comparable to the last, Toyota Corolla or Nissan Sentra that I tested, which is, really good. Even a Volkswagen Jetta feels pretty similar to this. In terms of quietness, the engine is relatively quiet. It's only when you start pushing the engine do you start to hear its coarseness, but it's a lot more refined versus earlier renditions of the 1.6. This engine in general is getting old. It just has noticeable turbo lag. That's something that I was hoping Kia would tune out, but it's still kind of there, but it's not quite as bad as what you would experience in the Elantra N line with its dual clutch transmission. So that's something to keep in mind. But if you're going to take this vehicle on a long road trip, it is darn impressive. It's quiet, it's comfortable, it's easy to see out of, it handles well. So you can easily take this on a longer road trip, and it also has plenty of space. This offers one of the most interior, spaciousness in the class because it's one of the biggest vehicles in this segment. Now, in terms of fuel efficiency, this is where the K4 does give up a lot considerably compared to the hybrid options. So it's rated at 2636, and in my week's worth of testing, I averaged just under 26 mpg in mostly city driving. On the highway, the best that I could do was around 34 mpg. So not great efficiency in the city, decent efficiency on the highway with its 12-gallon fuel tank. 12.5 gallons, you're looking at around 350-ish miles of range on a full tank. I saw around 325 in my week's worth of testing with more of my lead foot. So this is where, again, the Civic Hybrid is going to be slightly quicker, and it's also going to get roughly twice the efficiency of this car. Same thing with the Elantra Hybrid, the Corolla Hybrid. Should Kia offer the Elantra Hybrid's powertrain in this vehicle? Sure, they could, but the Elantra Hybrid is very sluggish. It's lethargic, it's slow, it's one of the least powerful entries in the segment. Honda really has raised the bar for hybrids with the new Civic Hybrid. So I could see Kia potentially offering the hybrid, but it really just depends on the demand. This 1.6 turbo is a phenomenal engine for those of you who are replacing your Forte GT. It's going to, satisfy that quench to get into something with more technology. I haven't had a chance to drive the 2-liter CVT combination in this car. You can get that in the GT line. I suspect that'll probably slow the 0 to 60 time of this car by about 2 seconds, but it should improve the efficiency and also reduce the price significantly. So overall, I love the K4. I think it is premium feeling. It has the space of a midsize car. It has the presence of a midsize car like a K5. I just think that in terms of fuel efficiency, it does lag behind its competitors because, again, a lack of a hybrid, but I don't love the hybrid powertrain in the Elantra Hybrid. So I'll be curious to see what Kia eventually does. But for those of you who are trying to come out of your Forte or your Forte GT, I think the K4 is definitely worth a look, especially if you really value technology, you value a more premium ambience, and you value having the most space in the segment. Now, with nearly 140,000 units sold in America last year, this model lineup for Kia was actually the company's second best-selling model here in the US. Now, I should point out that those nearly 140,000 units are actually a combined total of the old Forte with, of course, the K4, because the K4 went on sale in North America, and in October of 2024, the GT Line Turbo followed it up about 2 months later. So after spending a full week with the latest K4 GT Line Turbo, I have to say there's a lot to like about this vehicle. I mean, I was actually already a fan of the old Forte, especially in the GT trim. As an enthusiast, I am a little bit sad that Kia did kind of make this car a little bit more luxurious, a little bit more refined. It doesn't quite have the raw sportiness that you would find in the old Forte GT, but thankfully you can find that sportiness in the Elantra N-Line, this car's sister vehicle, or you can also still get a manual transmission in something like the Volkswagen Jetta GLI or the Honda Civic Si. So as a comfortable commuter car that feels a lot more expensive than it actually is, this is definitely something that you should be putting at the top of your list, because as you guys saw, because Kia made this car so much larger, it has basically mid-size car levels of interior space in the trunk and in the rear seat. It has technology that rivals a lot of more expensive cars, especially with the dual 12.3-inch displays on the top trim. It has nearly 30 inches of screen real estate, plus it also has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That's something you don't get in the Elantra because it runs the older software. The interior also has comfortable seats, premium materials. It has a design that really stands out, although not in a great way, especially when you look at it from the rear back here. And in general, I think Kia has done a fantastic job in making this vehicle a lot more refined, a lot more technologically advanced. Really, where it only falls short for me is in terms of fuel efficiency, because that engine with the new 8-speed auto is a refined powertrain combination, delivers solid performance. 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds actually did surprise me quite a bit. It's just the fuel economy, because I was only getting around 25 mpg, which is not good. You're going to get roughly double that fuel efficiency in something like the Corolla Hybrid, the Civic Hybrid, and even the Elantra Hybrid. Now, if you guys are looking to get your hands on the new K4, like I said, they have been on sale for the last few months, and base pricing starts at $21,990 for the lower S trim. That's actually one of the most affordable new compact cars out there. Really, the only thing that's cheaper is the Nissan Sentra by about $500. This car's price tag undercuts a lot of its rivals by as much as a couple $1,000s. So there's a big value quotient to be had here. Now, most of you are going to probably go to the EX trim for around $25,000. The GT line non-turbo is going to cost you around $28,000. That's of course if you add like a premium package. My test car here with that premium package and the turbo engines, even fully loaded like this, stickers for around $31,500. So $31,500 is a screaming deal, because if you're going to look at a fully loaded version of a Civic Hybrid in the sedan form, it's going to cost you around $2,000 more. Same goes for like a Mazda 3 turbo, which again, the Mazda does have all-wheel drive. The Elantra N-Line is going to be around $1,500 cheaper than this car, but there are features on the Hyundai that you cannot get on the Kia, and vice versa. The Kia is a bigger car with more premium features, a more upscale ambience with more interior space. So I think there's something to be had here. There's a strong value quotient, but in general, I do think Kia needs to work on improving their fuel efficiency. So I'm hoping that they'll be working on a new hybrid powertrain, because I don't think that the Elantra Hybrid's powertrain would quite cut it in a vehicle that looks this sophisticated or this sleek. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2025 Kia K4 GT line and the turbo engine specification. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.